Were there any like strong client wins this week that you had with any of your guys?
I had this lovely lady. At the moment, she trained with me 3 times a week. When she came, she was not confident or comfortable in the gym. She had talked to a doctor about she knee replacement because her knee was so much in pain. She was just too young. She's in mid 40s, start 40s. So it's way too early to get a knee replacement. Or she think that I think that too as well. Over a period of time of a year and a half, we go from A to B, and it's been a long journey. She lost roughly 18 kilo. She's pain-free in her knees. Occasionally, they comes back when sometimes comes back. However, now she can walk stairs. She can walk downstairs. She could do lunges. And in the past, she said to me, I don't do lunges. I will take the elevator. And now, like day to day, she do not realize, but when we stop up and thinking back, or she do the stairs, she literally so emotional, and she's like, oh my God, I literally changed my life. I didn't think exercising and training could be so fulfilling and medicine in terms of enhancing your life. And she's just a lovely lady now on a journey going forward. And every week we are literally just progressing. And sometimes she's like, oh yeah, I don't think I've progressed so much. But then I'm like, okay, think about what we've done today and what we did a month ago, and is miles ahead. I've got her recently to do a overhead box squat, not because nobody really needs to do that, but just her form got better when she brings something over the head, because that forces her to keep her chest high. So when she's squatting low, she have a better form with something over her head. But now, because of more weight, I give her over her head where still she can still be in control. Suddenly, yeah, she's more stable. We progress it nice and slowly. And now she's doing 15 and 17 kilo overhead squats to a box or bench are quite low.
Wow.
And one time, like we got up with like 1 or 2 kilo, and she get really frustrated she couldn't do it. And then at one point I was like, just put it in, take your time, just breathe. And you can see she get really frustrated. And then I just have a conversation with her about something else. What are you doing the rest of the week? Basically just trying to get her out of the negative thoughts. And then after we had that small conversation, maybe a minute and a half, I'm like, do you know what I have right now? You just like, you got frustrated, and if you don't try to change your mindset quickly, you'll not get it, because you get frustrated, you rush it. Like, we both know you had the strength, you had the flexibility, but you're rushing it. Slow it down, and you have it. And she did it. You can see her face, how her impression is like, yes. I even celebration behind it. So that's a one big win.
Yeah, okay, let's just like recap that. That's pretty amazing. So 18 months, right?
18 months.
18 months, came in, got a doctor's diagnosis that she would need a knee replacement. She didn't want to do that, you didn't want to do that, and you guys got to work, started training. She lost 18 kilos. That's insane, right? It's a massive weight loss straight off the bat. That's a huge win. And she's gradually been able to restore her confidence in moving through the knee to the point now where you guys are even doing overhead squats, which, for context of anyone listening right now, that's like so far up the continuum of difficulty as far as mobility is concerned in a squat movement. Like, probably right at the top of the most difficult movement that you can do in a squat pattern. And that's actually like quite a short space of time when we're talking about knee injuries like that as well. And she's in her early to mid 40s. So, nowhere near the age of like needing to be tapping out or having these kind of issues. So I was like, that's actually a very, very impressive story. I want to unpack that a little bit more in terms of what did that exactly start out like, in terms of what exercises did you guys like start with, and why?
We started, like, initially, I wanted to find out what did she like to do, what did she not like to do, and what can she do mobility wise. So initially I found a box, okay, to sit down and stand up, and then we progressed that into put a TX, and then I wanted to go as low as she could without any pain in her knee, and then slowly increase the range of motion in her knees, and for her to get more and more comfortable with that. That was where we started. We started with no with no lunges, with no crazy stuff. It was literally start from a clean camera. What can you do? This is our benchmark, and then slowly progressing. And that was basically what I did all the way around. And then this is here where we are. Anytime if she feels uncomfortable, out of breath, dizzy, no problem. Have a rest, sit down, have some water. She really liked balance exercises, unboardable or one leg stuff. She liked to do mobility stuff, stretching. Not because I do too much stretching, because I feel the return on investment, it's the return of the time you put into it, the strength work and mobility work in terms of push your range of motion were much more beneficial. But it was initially twice a week for a period of time where we slowly just have to build it. And when I think back now, it was with, sometimes not even with weight, sometimes with lightweight, and week in and week out, month in month out, it had been progressed. And where we actually both agree where the biggest achievement had been was she had a surgery at one point for a different issue she had, and after the surgery she was not able to train for 6 to 8 weeks. And it would have been so easy for her to just be like, oh, that's it, call it a day, I lost some weight, knees less in pain, it's going to be hard to come back. But she actually came back into 3 times a week, and we started back down low. Okay, what are you able to do now when you haven't moved for 6 to 8 weeks, and slowly build it back up? And now we are literally like, it's fun to think back for where it was, but because it was body weight, TX squats, and the knee flexion was just above 90 degrees. So for some of you that don't understand that, is you go in, this is her squatting, and she will go to this position and then back up, where now I get her to overhead squat where her knee comes down in this position. So obviously it's greater than the 90 degrees. So I'm like, it's just a completely different woman I see, even when she walking to the gym or away from the gym. Even the confidence she walk with, she taught me herself, is completely different. So I'm buzzing, and it's only a year and a half we've been working. So yeah.
That's amazing, and it's always really inspiring.
Yeah.
Even feel like, when you're the trainer and it's not you that's technically going through that journey, so you're watching somebody else go through that journey. It's always really inspiring to watch that person's journey. It's always a massive privilege to be part of it as well. And yeah, like not just the physical transformation, but the transformation in who that person is, and where they go from being in a really like low place where they don't feel very hopeful, to like being like completely amazed by their own achievement, and to feeling like, okay, actually I can do more and I can keep going. It's always like one of the most rewarding parts of like working with people and going through that process with them. And yeah, like neither like yeah, everyone and their mother at some point has some sort of like, I'm sitting here with a knee issue myself.
Yeah, I
You've
do as
recently
well.
gone through, you had knee surgery a couple of years back. Like even myself, I think one of my recent wins was a client who basically had a meniscus tear from playing football. And so he's been like getting stronger, getting fitter, getting faster, like for the last couple of years now. Got to a really, really, really good level, like heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, heavy bench, gaining muscle, getting faster in longer distances. And obviously football was going well as well. And then bang, knee injury, and he goes for a scan. They tell him, he's got a meniscus tear. So I was like, okay, this is like, and obviously it kind of was very deflating at the time, because he's just been on the up consistently for a long time now. And it's like, okay, great. This is now someone I don't have that much physical contact with. And a lot of it, I've got to kind of guide this through this process through like WhatsApp and, the training app and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm just like, part of me is this, I don't have that much control over this situation. And so what's really remarkable for me with this individual is part of the reason why we were progressing so much in the first place is because he's so consistent and has just got such a good mindset and such a good attitude towards everything that he does. And he just he's consistent with following the plan. He engages when it comes to giving feedback. And so the communication with him is so high. And that makes the biggest difference when you're working with someone, and how open they are to communicating with you, how willing they are to have conversations with you, and how much you can unpack with them, versus people that don't tell you everything and don't engage with you as much and don't give you as much information. And so it's a lot harder to make smart decisions with them. But in this individual's case, because the communication was so good, I was getting so much information. I was getting regular feedback. I could message him after every training session, and he would tell me exactly how it went, how his knee felt, what were the factors in and around his day, whether he'd slept well, what was going on that day. He'd learned what I was looking for in terms of like nutrition, stress, hydration, and so he was factoring those things in as he was feeding back to me as well. And so he was a really great individual to work with. And then within the space of 5 months, we are back to deadlifting heavy. We're back to squatting at a medium high level, and we're back to running, which was the huge one. And we took it phase by phase.
Yeah.
Again, graded exposure. Let's just see what you can kind of tolerate. And then even then, I'm looking to like, here's what I think you can tolerate, and here's where I'm going to go in at, just as a cautionary thing of like, I don't actually want to test the maximum. I just want to see. I reckon you're around there, so let me go here. And we were always kind of working maybe 1 or 2 weeks behind where I thought he was potentially actually at, and he was happy to work at that pace. And that was like back in February. This is August now, and we're back to he was squatting about 115 kilos. We're back to 105. Not that I recommend anyone like rushing this. Like for context, he's mid-30s. He has got a long training history, very strong, very athletic, and I wouldn't necessarily say that what's happened with him is representative of what can happen with anyone. This is a really good story where it's a very successful outcome from an injury, but I don't want to go around saying like anyone can recover and get back to heavy squatting and running in 5 months.
Right.
Like I think that's unrealistic. This is just like a really, really, really good example of how it went. And again, I'm going to put it down to like how well he was able to communicate with me, and that allowed me to make those tiny little subtle adjustments to his training program. And then just the constant communication and the feedback and that sort of working relationship that we had. And, he felt supported, and he was super, super like thankful for the sport. And he's obviously super, super thankful that it's not ended up being like something that completely took him out. We're back to a 5 minute per kilometer running pace at 10 kilometers.
Well done.
So, and he's a little bit faster than that at peak. So we're probably a good 90% back in terms of performance. And when it comes to running, he wants to do another 10K race in September or October, I think. I can't remember exactly when. So we'll start training for that. And yeah, it was pretty cool because he'd signed up for a 10K in July, probably back in January. The injury happened. At that point, he's like, there's no way I'm making that 10K in July. And the fact that he then ended up getting to run that 10K in July and getting the 50-minute time on the 10K as well, it was just such a big moment because it was like, I never thought that this was going to happen. And to watch it, again, it is an unusual recovery rate for that injury. So I was just like, wow, you're literally like Wolverine, man.
But when stuff like that happens, you're so happy. And like as it says, it's not even like it's to watch someone go through a long period of time, be so consistent and follow the coaching. And it's like just possibly you get I sit in here, get all happy. I have no clue who you're speaking about. I'm like, fucking yes, let's go.
Same. That's exactly how I felt when you were talking about the person you were working with. Mainly because it's not always like that.
No.
And you do get times where it doesn't actually go super well, and the person that you're working with is the experience is a bit more challenging. And I've definitely got a few examples of that as well, where you can't help but feel like you're letting them down. Even when you're trying your best, you always have to kind of take into account how much did I actually establish what this person wanted and how much did they want this thing, and are they like somewhat satisfied with it. Took me a long time to understand this. In my early career, I had these standards for the outcomes that I wanted because it's my work, right?
Yeah, I get that.
And then I was coming across people who it wasn't communicated, and they weren't necessarily aware to communicate it, but their standard for outcome was this. And so once they got to that sort of what I would have considered the halfway point, they relaxed, and they weren't putting in as much effort towards the outcome anymore because they were actually satisfied. And what I had to learn was it wasn't about where I was satisfied. It was about where they're satisfied, and just meet them there and kind of be like, cool, I'm still going to gradually progress you, but I'm not going to get frustrated at the less effort that you're now putting in.
It's so interesting because I remember I recently sat down and trying to think of where am I now, or how do I see my work or my job, what do I do, how do I help people, compared to when I started. And when I started, my view of personal training was like, oh yeah, I want to work with people who want to go up here, like move from A to B, but they want to be like me, or like in terms of working hard. Yeah, I cannot make you a 6'11", but I can make you as strong and good looking as me. Let's say that's what I thought at that time, right? Um, but like people come from so many different places, like where they want to go, why they're seeing you, or why they want your help or service. So like, I work with a guy I've worked with for a long time, one of my main people. Um, I see him between 1 to 3 times a week. But how much you haven't really lost? You have lost weight, but for the last year and a half, you haven't really lost any weight. But if he didn't work with me, he'll regress.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
Now, okay, in terms of weight wise, because you do want to lose weight, but in weight wise, we maintain it. But strength wise, we slowly increasing his strength. But the main thing is, he is an individual that work a lot, and there's a lot of demands. Hours he's working is, I've told him, is he needs to look after himself and have more time to recover and sleep. But that's just his job. Like, but when he's not seen me, I have a period of time where if you don't see me, he'll just do a bit of conditioning. But that means he do not get any full range of motion. He get much more stiff. And he's not either as happy because he don't see me. We have a great time. Or when he does see me, we are getting regularly a consistent work in, and he stays strong, etc. And he often say, Simon, if I didn't have this job, if I actually look after what I was eating, I could look after, I was sleeping, I would be an athlete. So yes, mate, you would like. And the fun is because he do live heavy, he is strong, he do progress. In terms of, he also wants to lose, let's say 10 more kilo, he told me. That is more stagnated, but it's purely because of stuff he's consuming, and you know that. But it's just that thing where initially when I started, there is a completely different case what I thought, what people want with working with practitioners. But now we have someone that want that, we got someone that just want to, I just want to get to the gym, I don't know what to do, I need you to help me. Someone like, I have pain, someone needs to help me, but everyone I worked with in the past, I have no clue what they're doing. Can you help me? It's like there's so many different reasons.
You know, it's interesting. It just really occurs to me from a client's perspective or anybody's perspective, even our perspective. Stronger is stronger.
Yeah.
Fitter is fitter. In less pain is in less pain. More flexible, less stiff is more flexible and less stiff. It's not so much about the exact amount. It's just that I'm better.
Yeah.
And we, I think as trainers, get so caught up on the exact measure of it that we overlook, like, this person feels better. And as far as they're concerned, that's all they wanted and that's all they needed. And they just want to keep feeling that way rather than like maybe us imposing our own and projecting our own thing of like, how many times are you in the gym and you're doing bench press and you're like, you wish that it was heavier, or you can't wait till it's 20 kilos more. Like the 140 kilos that you're benching right now is not enough.
True.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
And even the things that you're able to do, most trainers probably are really into training. And so most trainers have probably been training half their life, most of their life. And therefore they've had time to actually get pretty strong and pretty fit or pretty good at something. And way more than the average individual. And it's just like, even doing 100-kilo squat,
It's impressive.
it's very impressive. You know, even if you are a 100-kilo person, a body weight equivalent barbell squat is still pretty impressive. The average person cannot just randomly pick up 100 kilos and sit down and stand back up with it. Yet 100 feels like this should just be part of my warm up.
Do you know what? I know exactly what you mean, but I think when we look around other, it's because of now, I've become a little bit of an ego thing. I think with trainers, when we're in the gym, we see other people training. I'm like, let's say I look at you, you're squatting quite heavy because I know you're not half my size weight wise, but you're kind of.
Yeah, I am half your size.
But you're basically lifting the same weight as I do in a squat. Obviously, there could be many different things, but I think it is kind of, I've gone a little bit away for this where I'm like competing with other people in the gym or compare myself. I literally just want to look after myself, get stronger week in, week out, or month in, month out, and I don't need to push ridiculous weight. Now we say that I love that bench. However, with the squats, I'm squatting 120 kilo and I'm 120 plus, and I'm really happy with that. I know I should potentially squat much more if you look at it with the weight or with our glasses off. We personal trainers, we in the gym all the time, but I have so far down. I don't have the strongest dorsiflexion or ankle mobility, ankle flexion since my football days, and I haven't really worked with that joint that much. But I worked much more in the last year with front squatting because let me try that. What is that about? Which helped me to keep a much better form because I have to keep my chest up, so my
Yep.
torso up. And just practicing a different variation where I put the different weight from the back to the front. Now my back squat got stronger because of my form got better because my mobility in that range are better. But I'm literally just taking over, get my reps in. Okay, I'm gonna get it stronger, yes, and do it again. I actually really I really want to go back to climb sprints. I have actually so many climb sprints
All
this
right.
week. I actually have 2 sessions on a Saturday, so yesterday, I want to speak about, and then I have another one I had on Thursdays. A short one, Saturday. I had 2 clients coming in, 2 of my main clients. I've worked with both of them for 3+ years. Incredible. And both of them came in. The first one came in 8 a.m. and he was like, I'm knackered, Simon. I don't want to be here. Can we go slow today? So you slow it down today, and then we could push on Tuesday. So, of course. But how he came in, he was tired. He didn't really want to be there. He lived nearby. But when he left happier than when he came. And the next person I had at 9, also a lovely guy. I trained for 3+ years. Exactly the same story. He was tired, or when we want to cancel, his miss was like, but think about how great you're gonna feel when you've done it, when you've been with Simon. And he came in and we had a bit of a laugh. I got him to move, gave him a little bit longer rest. We didn't go to anything except his weight, the same with the first person. We literally just, do you know what? I listen to what you're saying, how you're feeling, and I adjusted the session towards that. Yes, he was still doing some challenging stuff, but because I gave him maybe a little bit longer time to recover, we didn't push where I know in the areas of his body where he might not be as strong, or he might threaten this bit a bit more. Didn't do that much, that too much that day. So just that thing where people are thinking about Haddy when I think about this, because what he loved to do is people keep come to him because they feel better when they leave than when he came.
What do
And
you what exactly do you think is happening there in that 45 minutes or an hour window?
an our window, I think one thing is they feel seen, they move their body, they are doing something good for themselves. I think like generally, physically they feel better, they get some good hormones like endorphins, etc. through the body. I feel they can see the benefit and they feel stronger and happier when they have been with me. I hope so. But obviously it's not just a chat and laugh, and like we are doing great work, but they can see it's not how much we're doing today, it's how regularly can we do it, because if we can do it regularly, week in and week out, no matter what we're doing that period of time, you progress. And they can see that because from the last 3 years, they've gone from A to B all the way down to X right now, where it's just continuously a little bit by little bit.
I'm with you. I think there's 3 major components to what makes somebody come in feeling pretty deflated and leave feeling on top of the world.
Yeah.
One is the physiological benefit of actually moving and doing exercise that's making them feel better. 2 is the actual relationship that they have with the person. And there's a big difference between going through your life by yourself, isolated, versus going through life with lots of really great and rewarding relationships with people that you like, value, trust, and respect. And ideally, with in that situation, both trainer and trainee have a good relationship with each other, and that person looks forward to like seeing and engaging with their trainer. And then the third one is I'm actually progressing at something. An achievement is occurring. I'm in this sort of game where I'm going to the next level and I'm getting better. I'm understanding the controls of this game a lot better. So you've got that physiological element of improving your health, and then you've got that social and psychological element of engaging with a rewarding relationship, and then you've got that achievement element of I'm getting better at something, and that's all happening every time they engage with it, and there's a big return on investment each time. And so prior to that person turning up, yeah, they maybe wasn't looking after themselves, because, I don't know, the last 24 hours, 48 hours, maybe they didn't make great choices in terms of sleep and nutrition. Maybe stress was high. Maybe they didn't move around as much. Maybe they didn't get to interact with enough of the people that they actually like interacting with. And so, bang, in they go. Simon, having a great chat, having a great laugh, getting great energy, getting great vibes, moving, starting off nice and light with a warm up, starting to do some more challenging things. More challenging things turn into, oh, wait, I'm actually getting better at this than I was last week. And so I've started moving around. I feel better. I'm hanging out with Simon. Simon's cool, making me feel great. And I seem to be doing better than I was last week at this hard thing. I feel bloody awesome. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
It's, do you know what? It's literally like you sit on the wall and somehow it went that Saturday morning. Exactly like how it is. You're
That
quite
is
clever actually.
that is and that is I've really been trying to appreciate the general value of what we do as personal trainers or any wellness professional, that you have to, if you lose track of what you're doing, and I've seen it, right? And we've been in places where we've seen it where people like end up focusing so much on the wrong thing, which is, how many sessions am I doing or whatever. And they completely lose sight of what impact am I having on the person in front of me, because that's the real reward here. And that is what's actually going to end up helping me a lot with the business side of things, which allows me to keep doing this, which allows me to keep, paying my bills and reinvesting and getting better at what I do so I can do more of this. Because it's like, if you're not focused on that bit, you're not getting outcomes for people, you're not delivering that experience, then yeah, it's probably not going to go so well for you. And yeah, you're probably going to have to find a different career. So I think it's very important for us as trainers to keep sight of why we're doing what we're doing and what we're actually doing for people. And if you can keep, and then I've struggled, 20 plus years of doing this. There's been long periods where I just completely lost touch with it, wanted to do something else. And then, a good experience or a great client journey, or whatever, has kind of like tagged me back in. And I've been like, okay, great. I remember now why I love this so much. Um, and not stop caring about what you're doing, and to not stop caring about the person that you're doing it with. Even I've had clients for 5 years, and you might have had clients for many years and stuff. And yeah, there is a point where it's like you can become complacent, and you can kind of like maybe stop pushing them in a certain way. Because we talked about that earlier, right? They kind of get to roughly where they wanted to get to, and you've got your expectations. But there's a middle ground in between those, that it's like, right, I'm not going to be frustrated or disappointed that you're not pushing as much as you were before, but I still want to go forward. And all I've done is I've just recognized that this is your pace now, and I'm just going to move at your pace. But the deal that you're making with me is that we're still moving.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I want. I want to keep moving with people, because when I'm not moving with people as a trainer, I do start to die. Like that's my honest, like I say it now, hands up. When I'm working with somebody, if we're not moving forward, I can start to find myself switching off. I can start to find myself, I don't really like these words, but I'm going to say it because it's probably the truth. I do start to lose interest, because there's only so much you can really pay me. I'm still a human being, and I could do anything in the world to make money. I'm choosing to do this because it's just something I'm passionate about. And if that passion investment isn't getting the sort of effort return, it's almost just like, what are we doing here then, right? Even if I do get along with the person, even if it's good vibes, I definitely have clients where it's probably more chat than it is training, right? But that training, that 15% of training that we do, I'm still keeping my eye on it, and I'm still looking for opportunities to push the needle forward a little bit and get this person a bit stronger, a bit fitter, or a little bit more aware of their body, or making slightly healthier choices in their life. Because if that's not happening, I am gonna start to feel like,
What are we doing?
yeah, we can just be friends for free, man.
True. That is true.
Do you ever find yourself in maybe too much of a chatty working relationship with some of your clients?
Great question. No, I do not. And all my clients are following on Instagram, on social media. They're gonna see any of these clips, podcasts, or however you're gonna put it out. They will not the hit. And yes, I like a chat, but also like them to work. And I know some of them, they laugh a little bit more at my jokes than they need to, just to get a little bit longer rest. And some of them want a water break a little bit fewer times than they actually need, just because they want that little bit more time to take a longer break. Don't think I'm not pushing them too far. it's just because of they want a little bit more time, and I'm happy to give them the time, and they don't need to say, oh, can I get a water break to get longer? But it's just quite funny sometimes how, you know what, we're chatting, I get them to work hard, but then at the time they need to recover in between the sets, we chat them some more. And it's not just chat. I'm so excited to hear what they're up to, what they're doing. I've learned so much about stuff I never really know anything about. Remember, I'm a foreign dude from Denmark. Language is still great, but the words I'm not sure about. There are theatres, cultural things, history, a lot of these different things I literally learn from my clients, and even more, sometimes we speak about training, and this are some interesting questions, and which also keep me on my toes on how do I explain the different things we're going through and why we're doing what we're doing. But I'm chatty, but I'm not too chatty. Too chatty.
Yeah, I do remember, I've got an example of that, of you, is it Rax?
Rash.
Rash, yeah, the training Rash in the gym, and I'm training at the same time, and I've kind of come over, um, just to say hello or whatever, and then we've ended up in this sort of like three-way conversation, but then turning up into a two-way conversation between me and Rash, and you're just quietly there, just like sneakily increasing his weight, like he's still working out, and then he's just like really invested in this chat with me now, and I think I followed you guys from the leg extension over to the leg press, and you're still there, just like, yeah, cool, like we're gonna do 10 now, right? That's 2 minutes, and then whilst he's distracted talking to me, and then he's looked at it, he's like, "How you cheeky? You've just increased the weight, haven't you?" And then, like, we're having this like little banter thing going on, but throughout the entire 10 minutes or whatever that was, he did at least 4 sets, and he was still having to work and push himself. So even though the chat and the banter was going on, the training session was happening at the same time, and you weren't really like relaxing anymore.
It was actually a great session, that session. But she says it was like he had a proper amount of rest time, and when he was working hard. I actually really want to. There's a last success story I want to speak about. It's basically a Rash as a social call you out. However, when I started working with him, we were in a benchmark position where we started from scratch. He came in with an injury around the knee, and that was the first thing I had to deal with, and then build a good foundation for where we want to go afterwards. And just fast forward, we've gone from difficult to do it, let's say, bench press just for the bar to stabilize it, and the bar was all over the place, to now we are doing 40 and 50 kilo bench press. But a year and a half ago, the bar reference, a 20 kilo bar, it was very unstable, hard to actually get 8 reps out. Where now he's doing 50 kilo on 4 reps, where much more stable, he actually pushing through, and just the consistency is what is given there. But initially, we trained once a week. I asked him to go and train by himself. I was also saying, I'm happy to provide the programs, you can go and do it. But he said, no, it's fine. But what often happened was, you only trained with me once a week. And every week, we kind of started always just maintaining. And what then happened was, I was like, all right, when you're home, what do you, like, can you do any training at home? Like, but you have a Peloton. Sweet, all right, so once a week, go on your bike. Don't need to cycle fast, just look at the telly on the TV, watch the series while you're cycling. And suddenly became more active, but you're still just one session with me and one on the bike at home. But now he's playing paddle once or twice a week. He trained one with me, and then a program for him once a week in a gym and once a week at home. But suddenly he's gone from, call it 6 months, where he only trains once a week, to once a week plus a cycle. And now he literally an active person. His whole, it's not a lifestyle change. It's just slowly changing how he uses time, how he structures his week. And like we made some on Thursday. We made some heel elevated squats. And when we started working, he had his knee obviously had an injury with a meniscus, so slowly built up the strength without getting into full range of motion, but still built the strength around the knee. But now I got him to do heel elevated squats initially with a 16 kilo dumbbell. That turns out to be a 22 kilo dumbbell, and now a 26. But the way he was stabilizing himself, how he was in a good position, I was like, this is the first time you do this movement. You slowly showed me you have the strength to go up in the weights. But actually, I would like to go heavier, because he showed me he had the strength to do it. And just the way he picked up the dumbbell, put it down, the way he positioned himself and stabilized himself, I was like, Rash, you've come so far, and I'm so proud.
Mm.
And it's funny because before, like, would you have any success story? And when I'm thinking of, yeah, we're going to speak about the First Lady. And now when I actually thought, well, when you start speaking, I was like, wait a minute. And I'm trying to think about my week. And actually, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy for what I'm doing is I'm with good people. They give me so much energy and the progression. But literally, like almost every person I'm with, is literally a success story in their own way.
100%.
It's just this week, I'm like, I could look back, I'm like, I'm literally so happy and proud for so many people. And because I'm never really sitting down and which I should do, but just came into my mind, like I'm like, they're actually sick. I actually have another small success story, but it's not within the sessions. But basically, I have this one girl I work with also for roughly a year and a half, and we train once a week. She used to come to a lot of my classes. But now when obviously I left the gym we worked at together to go do my own personal training business, so now she stopped coming to my classes, stopped actually going to classes. However, she went away on a holiday, not work, not holiday. She went to work abroad, and at that time she was away for 3 to 4 weeks. I set her up on a program on the Trainer Rise, and this is you are 3 different programs, and every week it'll still be the same movements, but the weights or the reps or the sets will change. So slowly you become stronger throughout this period of time. When she came back, she was like, I really liked it. And I could see I actually got stronger. Even there's a lot of the same stuff, I got stronger. I said, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? But basically what we do when we train. But what is amazing was she wanted to be a better runner because she wanna do some runs. She have a half marathon coming up soon here in September. But recently now when I can see her actually diary, because she linked her diary, so she linked her running app to Trainer Advice as well, so I can actually see what she do week in and week out. And earlier this week, I texted her. I said, "You are so consistent, and you should be as proud of you as I'm proud of you because you're so consistent and you are changing your strength and endurance and everything. But just to see someone going from being okay, I want a personal trainer to help me to get stronger, and then I could do a bit of Pilates, I could do a few classes, everything a little bit random, I'm not sure what I'm doing, to actually now, she's just consistent in what she's doing. And sometimes we have a conversation about, oh, she don't feel as strong today, or I really want to follow the program, but when I'm like, but you're the one knowing your body. If your body tells you you're gonna rest, listen to it, because that will give you much more benefit for tomorrow or the day after. And obviously she's just saying, oh yeah, but I want to train, I'm gonna get better, I want to get stronger, which all of us actually falling into this trap.
Mm-hmm.
But our body are giving us signals to what is best for it, and if you listen to it, we get a much better outcome. But when I look from where she was before to now, she have a structured program. She with me. She with the run. She also have a running coach in terms of programming how far she'll be running week in and week out towards her half marathon. It's just so nice to see how happy she is for the consistency. Yes, she's like, oh yeah, but I really want to change my body composition. But I know because me and my partner go for too many beers, or sometimes with the diet is a bit up and down. But now for a period of time, she have changed that. And she's like, but nothing really happened when she got on the body scanner. But like, I'm keep saying, if you're trying to change your focus from what the scanner is saying, because right now you change your habits, if you keep being consistent with your habits, then keep looking into what you're consuming, you're going to get where you want to be. But basically, it's what you do day in and day out consistent, they're going to get there. I'm just super happy for all my clients at the moment.
No, it sounds again, the key things there that I'm really hearing is great communication.
Yeah.
For you to have all those chats, for you to get all that information. There's just so much communication happening, and it's really having a huge impact on your ability to support these individuals. Obviously, massive credit to them as well, right? Because they're fully engaging in their process, and they're like pushing themselves forward, and they're really leaning into getting your support. And that's, I think, a big thing with when somebody hires a trainer or a coach or whatever, is that they actually go out of their way to lean into that support and not just kind of be like, okay, I've paid money now, and now I'm just going to sit here
See what's happening.
and see, and
Yeah.
and like if nothing happens, nothing happens. And it's like, it's very much maybe not made very clear as to what hiring somebody is supposed to be about. We're here to support and collaborate. We're not actually here to pick you up and put you on our shoulders and march
Or
you down. Yeah, because, and we would if we could, but it just doesn't work that way. It's not our bodies moving that makes the change. It's your body moving that makes the change. And so and I'm sure you'll kind of share with me on this, is that as a trainer, you always really appreciate the people that put in that effort for themselves, because they're the ones, you're going to really be able to help. And then the people that aren't putting in as much effort for themselves, again, it's just like, I'm going to try and match your effort so that you're getting something. But yeah, like, you're looking at them and you could be more and you could have more. The only time I kind of give somebody a pass on that is when they're quite content with what they have. So it's like, cool, you're happy, right? Great, then I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get that.
But if you're coming in and there's this sort of regular frustration about where you're at, and then we've not been doing the things outside of the sessions that can help contribute towards those things, it's like, okay, well, this is a bit more challenging now. And then I appreciate that the venting is part of how they continue with their process. It took me a long time to realize this, that it was okay for them to come in and it was okay for them to be frustrated. The bit I needed to be paying attention to is that they turned up to then be frustrated, to then vent at me, because it's when and that's still communication.
100%.
So I'll take it. Great. It means that you're willing to keep going, willing to keep trying, and you're just upset about some things. So that's fine. When somebody doesn't talk at all right, if someone does a session, we both use the same app to manage our clients, which is called Trainerize. So if somebody does the session on Trainerize, I'm like, great, I'll then go take a look at the session, and I message them and I was like, okay, how did those squats go? How did that go? Maybe I want a video of the thing or whatever. Again, if I go back to who I was talking about before, who had the meniscus tear, he's given me all of his feedback. He's probably filmed it. He's going to send me a video, whatever. I might message somebody else. Yeah, all good, thanks, mate.
Done. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, and then I might ask some more questions, but again, you might get the same sort of general flat answers. And then when you see them in person, again, they don't seem to be that much more engaged either. So you're kind of like, all right, there's only so much, we're really like delving into the process here.
It actually says, like, we're matching. Yeah, we might be the leader of what we're doing, and okay, you're paying me for the service. Okay, this is where I want us to go to, lead and where what you want. But if the client gives you this amount of energy, you're not going to keep double or triple that energy, because suddenly you're like, okay, that is not really what you want. So I'm going to match what you're doing, even though I want to lead where you want to go. So 100% agree with you.
Yeah, sometimes anyone who's being consistent,
Yeah,
generally you can just assume things are going okay. There'll be like a moment where they're going on holiday or they're getting married or whatever. Suddenly, like, okay, I want to pick things up. And then the rest of the time, they're generally kind of content with like, yeah, okay, I want to maintain at this general level and I want to maintain at this level of support. And being able to identify that also helps you to manage your own expectations.
Yeah.
And then you pivot when they're ready to pivot. Man, Simon.
It's gone fast. I feel like I spoke a lot this time, actually.
Yeah, you definitely did. I'm so happy to hear about a lot of your clients' stories and stuff that, like, we talk all the time and I never get to hear about that stuff. And some of that is like really, really, really amazing work. So like, well done to you and well done to them. I hope that all continues. Hope we get to hear a lot more success stories, and hope we get to learn a lot more from those success stories as well. It's definitely been inspiring to hear it. And then yeah. I'll link all your like socials and stuff in the descriptions. So if anybody wants to go and get their knee sorted out,
listen, knee getting stronger, come to me.
Simon loves a good knee challenge.
Definitely.
And then yeah, I'm probably not so much for the knees. I've got
I'm bossing to help you with the knees.
But yeah, I look forward to hearing more stories. And yeah, thanks for coming down today.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure.